Good morning, good evening, and good night. That's right, I think. I think that's right. Louise, where are you at in the day? What time is it for you?
It is 5:15
Evening,
evening, 17:15
17:15.
England.
It's
Yeah.
about minus 3 o'clock, and the rest of it the UK.
Yeah. Oh, 2 hours?
2 hours different. Is that it?
Yeah. You are 7:15?
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And Dave in the early hours of the morn. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for being here. The rest of us are UK based. Yeah, cool. Welcome to tonight's Freedom Thinking Community Group. The date is the 26th of May, 2025. I am Dave Ellery of Freedom Thinking. Hopefully, all being well. Looking highly unlikely at this very present moment for those who've just seen my daughter, who probably won't be going to sleep within the next half an hour. With a bit of luck, Jen will be coming down. Yeah, so hopefully I'll have my guest speaker that seems to attempt to turn up every single week. Yeah, this is a via donation event. Anybody who wishes to make a donation, if you're watching this in catch up, please look in the description below. There are 3 means by which to make donations. Jenny and I really appreciate your help. You know, if we can put out content that helps you and you can help us, then that's balance. That's balance. And this universe loves balance. We love balance. So we're looking for frigging balance. Let's be the balance. So yeah, anybody who can make a donation, please do. We sincerely appreciate it. We do it via donation so that people who can't afford it, they still get access, and those who can help us out. Thank you, everyone. It's an ecosystem. It's a biome. It's a biome where we all come together and help one another out. All right. I just heard my voice in the background. Sounds like Jen's on. Right. Cool. All right. I don't have anything particular to talk about. Anybody who watches us weekly will know that that's basically how I generally start each week. I have nothing to talk about and then seem to somehow not be able to stop talking. However, I would like to hand this over to you lot. Is there anything you would wish to bring to this conversation, Louise? I notice your finger going straight for the phone. Anything you wish to bring to this conversation?
Can you talk about burning out?
Can I talk about burning out? Excuse me. Red Bush. Not Red Bull, Red Bush. Like the opposite of Red Bull. Red Bull doesn't choke you. Excuse me. Can I talk about burning out? All right. If I'm honest, I don't really know what the true, what would be classed as a definition of like a scientific or psychological definition of burnout would be. But to me, burnout, when I meet people who are described as having burnout, what I generally find is people who are so frigging exhausted that they quite often can't get out of bed. They become very short-tempered. They get to the point where they really struggle to function in everyday life. Is that close to what your definition of burnout would be, Louise? I'd have to look into that.
It's mostly like you are tired all the time, or because there are too many things happening in your life, or yeah.
Right, cool. I like that. I'm just checking it out now. All right, so burnout, it's a noun. A failure in a device. No, blah, blah, blah. All right, burnout is a state of emotional, mental, and physical exhaustion caused by prolonged stress often related to work or caregiving. It is characterized by feelings of depression, cynicism, and reduced professional efficacy. I haven't used the word efficacy today, so I'm quite pleased I managed to get that in. So it seems to me when we're looking at the topic of burnout, what we're really looking at is this topic of stress. Dr. Bill Pettit, a fellow who we know who shares this, psychiatrist from America, he says, and so does now the American psychiatric system, says that there is really only one psychological problem, and it's chronic stress, and chronic stress will manifest itself in people in all kinds of ways. And if you think about it logically, it makes sense. Anger, depression, anxiety, worry, all these things that people regularly come and work with us about, addiction, all these things start with stress. It's people trying to do their absolute best to feel better, and more often than not struggling to do so. This conversation is vital when it comes to the topic of burnout, especially if we're wanting to try and help people through burnout. I don't know, I've still, in my mind right now, I've still got kind of an image of burnout in my mind, and it's kind of people reaching like the bottom of the pit, if you like, and they're so far down the well, they can't see how the frigging hell they're supposed to get out. That's kind of an image that I've got in my mind at the moment. It's probably in my way, if I'm honest. But that's the kind of image I'm getting. People who are so lost in stress that they can't seem to fathom or comprehend a way out of it. And it ends up almost in a hopeless state whereby, as it just described in that definition, it came from some AI chatbot attached to my search engine. It's characterized by it's caused by prolonged stress, often related to work or caregiving. It's characterized by feelings of depletion, cynicism, and reduced professional efficacy. Depletion, my apologies, not depression. Depletion. Different, but the same. So really, to try and understand burnout, we have to understand stress. You know, stress is something that we, in my opinion, and in my personal experience of stress, having spent time in the mainstream system to try and combat stress, to try and reduce my own stress levels, the only means by which I was given was like traditional therapies and medication. Stress was seen more as a kind of physiological thing that the body does. That's almost like a body out of control, a body that's malfunctioning. That's why my body was given things that were chemical based in an attempt to counteract the chemicals that were being produced. adrenaline, cortisol, which my personal body was absolutely flooded with at one point. I have no qualms about that point. It really was. I mean, I got to the point in my life where my heart, I was 32, my heart, I was regularly having severe heart episodes. I remember one day, particular day, climbing up a tree, and my heart started beating so irregularly. I coughed and I coughed and I coughed, and I realized my body was coughing in an attempt to try and get my heart to regulate itself. It was like the cough was a rhythmical cough, almost trying to, no, no, don't do that, heart. Beat in this way. And it was like my body was trying to counteract itself. It was phenomenal, really, when I look back. It wasn't at the time, it was horrific, it was terrifying. Just chronic stress. And in my chronic stress, I was chronically depleted. And I was extremely angry, and in all honesty, I did stop going to work. And yeah, I kind of, now I look at the word burnout, I've really paid too much attention to it, to be honest. I've heard it thrown about left, right, and centre. But when I look at my own personal burnout, where you just end up in this state of, how the fuck am I supposed to get out of this? Where do I go now? Or just complete and utter exhaustion. The mainstream psychiatric medical model wasn't the thing that helped me. The thing that helped me was the discovery of what the principles is pointing to whatever degree I was privileged enough to see it. You see, stress isn't a thing in and of its own right. Stress cannot exist without thought. So therefore, stress has to be a perspective of mind. It has to be a perspective held within the individual. We can go to work one day and you can be really, really stressful. The next day you go and you have the same work, but it's just not that stressful. Or you can go to work and one person find it extremely stressful, and the next group of people or the next person there doesn't find it stressful. I have friends who've been to war, and they speak about, it's a couple of them, they speak about this point where they're being shot at the time when you'd think you would be your most stressed, and they just felt so alive, so connected, so aware, so perceptively massive. But other people did not feel like that. Other people were collapsing and struggling their way through it. So if that's true, then it cannot be anything caused by the external world that's creating burnout or stress. It has to be something being created within our own world. And when you start to look at that point, and for those who followed this conversation for long enough, I hope you've either seen or you're starting to really get a sense of the point that anything that you are experiencing is a manifestation of your own consciousness. I'm not talking external circumstance when I talk about reality. I'm making the distinction. I'm talking about internal experiential reality, which is so seamless and so perfect and so immaculate and so real that we fail to notice that is actually what is taking place, that we actually live in an internal experiential reality. Until we start to question and start to waken up, we forget to comprehend or even acknowledge or notice the fact of experience. And if you truly step back and look at life, you'll realize this is all an experience. In fact, we're all sat having an experience right here, right now. That's what life is. It's experience. What is joy? It's experience. What is anger? It's an experience. What is worry? Experience. Falling in love, an experience. Having your heart broken, it's an experience. What's the taste of food? It's an experience. What's the sound of my voice? It's an experience. What is stress? It's an experience. Everything is experience. That's really the only thing that's ever going on is experience. And every single one of us experiences differently. When I had the privilege, the gift of awakening to the nature of mind, the nature of thought, whatever you want to call it, the nature of consciousness, to what, and I say this over and over again, I don't sit here as an enlightened being. I sit here as a man who has seen to whatever depth he doesn't know. But what I came to see was enough to change everything for me in a moment. And it was realizing, as Sydney Banks described it, it was realizing that I thought it was real. It wasn't real. I just thought it was real. I thought that my perspective, the perspective I held upon my environment, the perspective I held upon my work, my people around me, myself, it wasn't real. I'd made it up, made up the whole thing. I have done ever since. And I was doing so before. And I will continue to do so after. Well, to when I leave. Just like everybody else. And also what Sid Banks said when he said, what I discovered is that life is a psychological experience. Life itself is a psychological experience. Now, Sid wasn't somebody who spoke about psychological as in a scientific term. He, as much as it is, he also, for me, highlighted the fact it was a spiritual. It's a spiritual thing. Psyche and spirit are the same thing. Psyche in Greek means soul, the breath of life. So when we have this scientific conversation about psychological stuff, what we're actually talking about is soul-based experiential reality. And psychiatry and psychology is an attempt to try and help people, as far as I hope, is an attempt to try and help people change their experiential realities. But one of the problems that I came across, now I look back, was that the system didn't seem to understand that life itself is a psychological experience in the now. And therefore it was trapped by all this dogma and ideas that it seemed so unwilling to shift from when I look at it. And it still is to a certain degree. So unwilling to shift from the ideas of Freud and whatnot, that the reason you are like you are today is because of your past. So your stress is caused by X, Y, or Z that took place in your childhood, and you've got to overcome that trauma and blah, blah, blah. But waking up, it showed me that that's completely untrue. The thing that I experience 100% of the time is my own thought created reality in the now. The past doesn't exist. We live in an eternal state of now. Therefore, the past has no power over my now. Really pisses some people off. It can be really confrontational to people, can this? Because people will, and we get it all the time, they hit you with these, yeah, but what about this? 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 It's not happening. It's not happening now. I don't deny for a moment that it did take place. Yes, it did take place, I'm sure. But the problem that we face when we actually look at that point is two things. One, the perspective that we held on that given trauma in that given moment was created by mind in that particular moment. It looked real. But the way that we saw it in that moment was was singular potential from an infinite amount of ways that we could have viewed that subject in that given moment. And secondly, if it's not happening now, then how can it be affecting us now? You see, so Sid's conversation came into my life when I was experiencing severe stress and kind of just cut through all the crap and went, the reason why you feel like you feel, and it doesn't matter what you're feeling, is because you are a state of consciousness that creates an experiential reality. And within this experiential reality is infinite potential. You can do anything. You can be anything. You can experience anything within the consciousness of a man or a woman or a child. Again, I'm not going outside of myself at this point. I'm not talking circumstance. I'm talking about the experience that we live as our life. Circumstance has no power to decide how we feel about anything. Therefore, circumstance does not create stress. That pisses people off too. But it's true. Circumstance does not create stress. Only the mind, the power of thought, can create the perspective that we hold on anything, and therefore the corresponding feeling that goes along with the perspective that we're holding. So when it comes to burnout, if you speak to people in burnout, I'm talking about you speak to people in stress at this point, you are going to get all varying degrees of what level or what creates their stress. It will show up for different people in different ways. It's almost like the ADHD label. Sorry, not level, label. ADHD used to stand for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Now it stands for whatever the hell anybody decides it wants to be. That's like stress. People come with stress and you can look at their external circumstance and go, seriously, you find that really, really stressful? But in their internal world, yes, I find that fucking seriously destructive. And the next person can look at that circumstance and have a Y kind of experience or M kind of experience or P kind of experience. Because it's nothing to do with the external world. It's everything to do with our own being, our own state of being. And the fact that our state of being is an infinite creative force. That's the bit I'm most interested in. That bit. Because that's the most important thing anybody on earth could ever wake up to. We create our own reality. There is nothing separate from this fact. There is no circumstance, there is no feeling state that is separate from consciousness. There is nothing that we can experience that doesn't come from within our own consciousness. And then we either deem it to be correct, incorrect, right, wrong, blah, blah, blah. We judge it. Which is what we've got to but this is where we've ended up in a bit of a sticking point with you as human beings. We've placed so many judgments on feelings. We've said some feelings are correct and some feelings are incorrect. All feelings are feelings. They really are neither correct nor incorrect. They're actually entirely neutral. They may not feel neutral, but that's only because we've decided that they're wrong. What is anxiety without all the story? What is depression? The feelings of depression, what is it without all the story about it? Any of these things, what are they without all the story? Well, they are an event that human beings are capable of experiencing because we're infinite beings, infinite spiritual beings. This is a spiritual reality. So when it comes to things like stress, that is not a separate subject. when it comes to things to burnout, like burnout, it's not a separate subject. A close friend of mine at the moment is suffering from burnout. Some days he's struggling to get out of bed, and other days he's absolutely fine walking around the house or going out or going back to work actually now. Yeah, he was exhausted. I remember my dad once saying to me, I was like, I'm absolutely knackered. I'm just going to go to bed. And he once said to me, do you want to go metal detecting? Well, yeah, let's go. Where's your tiredness now? Oh, gone. Because tiredness itself is not separate from other thoughts, not separate from other feelings. It's a feeling state. When I forget I'm tired, I don't feel tired. There are times my physical body does need rest, but a lot of the time when I tell myself I'm tired, it's just me just feeling like that until it disappears, till I get on with something else. It's temporary. Yeah, stress isn't anything separate. Stress is a state of mind. It's a perspective of the mind. It's a thought created experience. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to share about that? Well, I know that when Keith and Valda went into, and Joe Bailey, who I'm speaking with Joe Bailey, anybody who can make it, I'm speaking with Joe Bailey at the international conference this year, this next month. Yeah, Joe's written a few books on the subject of burnout. And I certainly included them in his books. But one of the things that Joe Bailey and oh, the deal gone straight on my head now. Keith Blevins and Valda Monroe noticed when they went into Mayo Clinic with the three principles as a paradigm, they shared it as a paradigm. Thought creates feeling. The reduction in burnout was massive. When people started to understand that their experience was not coming from work, was not coming from their load of work, was not coming from their clients, their patients, blah, 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 was actually coming from themselves. When they made that distinction, when they realized the truth of the fact that their entire experience was not coming from work, burnout decreased by something like, I can't remember the percentage, it was something like 80%. Which by anybody's measurement is frigging enormous. And all that it was people starting to gain understanding that they are responsible for their state of feeling state. It's nothing to do with work. You see, stress is amplified and magnified and what's the other word I'm looking for? Multiplied if we assume that the experience that we're experiencing is created from outside of ourselves. Because all of a sudden, you've got this thought to contend with, and you've got this person over there to contend with, you've got that stack of papers over there to contend with, you've got this future to contend with. Then you've got the problem of the past. But when they narrowed it down to the experience that your experience is coming from the power of thought in the moment, your 100% of your feelings are coming from the power of thought in the moment. that took stress levels down by something, if I remember correctly, I could be completely wrong, by about 80%. It might even have been higher. Just people realizing that they're creating that experience. And all of a sudden they've gone from an external reality to the realization of the internal reality, which is really the only thing you ever get to experience anyway. They describe it as outside in is an illusion, that your feelings are being created from outside of yourself and imposing themselves upon you on your inside. When in actual fact, it's coming from the inside out, from within your being, your magical, spiritual, conscious state of reality creator is coming a reality that you call your life. And that is the means by which reality is born from within a being. 180 degrees in the opposite direction to what we've been told throughout our time by the experts, by people who, God bless them, have been trying the best to help us. Took a welder to wake up, to help psychiatry and psychology and point it in the direction of truth. Stop looking in the past, stop looking in the future, stop looking over here, stop looking over there. Look inside. Stop looking in time. It doesn't exist. Look in the now. Look in the here and the now. And you'll notice something. And when you notice something, stress will reduce. Notice something else, your stress will reduce some more. Notice something else, your stress will reduce some more. Why? Because it's not coming from outside, it's coming from inside. Each insight, this is an insight-based thing. I was speaking to somebody the other day and she said, I can't change it and I can't change myself. I'm like, of course you can't change yourself, because the self that's trying to change it is the ego. People change through realization, through new thought, profound new thought. That's how people change. Insight is a new potential being born within the consciousness of a human being. When all of a sudden they experience something, a new realization, they go, shit, I never saw that. Oh, how did I not see that? I think it's Jack Pransky wrote about this and he called it, not that I've ever read any books, but I believe he called it slaphead therapy, or that might have been who Jenny learnt with. I'm struggling for names today. Come to me. He was the first psychologist to go and see Sid. Carl, go hit me.
Roger Mills.
Dr. Roger Mills, thank you very much. Yeah, it might have been Dr. Roger Mills who actually coined that phrase, slaphead therapy. Oh, how did I not know that? How did I not see that? Cheers, Carl. But yeah, we can, it's very easy for us to create monsters. And burnout can be a massive monster that we can see as being the biggest mountain in the world. I don't know. In the book of Thomas, Jesus said, when you make the two into one, you will look at the mountain and say to the mountain, move, and the mountain must move. No, you can read into that whatever you wish. I wasn't there to quiz him on it. I don't think I was. Might have been. Don't remember it. I don't know. This is a quantum universe, you know. This is a quantum reality. I ain't got a freaking clue. But if I look at that and I was to apply it to this conversation, I would say when you make the two into one, thought and feeling, when you realize that they're a singular event, they're not two separate things. Thoughts and feelings aren't separate. Thoughts don't run independently of feelings. Feelings don't run independently of thoughts. As you think from within your nothingness of your infinite being, you draw forth a something out of the nothingness of your infinite being, and you feel it. The two are one. When you make the two into one, you will say to the mountain, move, and the mountain must move. Now, the mountain can be anything. It can be anything that is troubling us. Those things that just look unsurmountable in life. Those, how the fuck am I going to get? I can't get through this. I can't deal with this. I can't deal with that. fucking hell, this feels so massive. I can't deal with this shit. I don't know where to turn. There's your mountain. But when you realize that the mountain is created from thought, it's a perspective. The mountain is an illusion of the mind. Why is it an illusion? Well, because it looks real. It looks absolutely fixed and real. It looks true. It feels true. You call it your life. This is my life. But it can change in a moment. It's not fixed. And all of a sudden it can look different. And you're like, wow, that big problem I had this realization. It's just, I'm all right now. It's totally vanished. We see that all the time. That's how solid and real it was. It looks so solid and real until it changes. How does it change? Change your mind. With a change of mind. Through insight, through realization. How do you find insight and realization? Well, that's just a natural occurrence of consciousness. It happens to all of us. It's how we learn. But it does seem like Div on this call just before we started was saying, no, I like to just point my consciousness. I'm totally paraphrasing now. I like to point my consciousness in this direction and just listen and learn and realize, not for any other reason than I'm just fascinated. It just so happens that when you do that, when you point your consciousness in this direction, when you start to become interested in the notion that perhaps reality isn't what you think it is, and you start to comprehend or consider the notion that the reality you're experiencing is actually coming from within yourself, then it seems that insight is sped up. It seems like people can go from the worst states of being to the most beautiful states of being in moments. It doesn't take time. Time doesn't exist. It does not take time. People say it takes time. It doesn't take time. It happens in a moment. What I discovered, bang, changed my life in a moment. Did I see everything in that moment? No. But I got to see in other moments, I got to get glimpses, and people can be pedantic and go, yeah, well, it has taken time. No, it hasn't, because time doesn't exist. Time is a concept of the mind, but we bind ourselves with it. We're so addicted to it, but it doesn't actually exist. We live in an eternal now. Time is future and past. Future, where is it? I've never come across it to this day. The past, where is it? It's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. Time does not exist. We live in an eternal now. And the more people can listen and align themselves with that truth. When I say align themselves, I don't mean get busy with this. I mean, just listen. Let the insight do the heavy lifting. Anybody who's trying to get this, I think it was a few weeks ago we did this. We did this one, I'm not getting it. Stop trying. It's in the Freedom Thinking videos a couple of weeks ago. I think it's entitled, I don't get it, or something like that. But then stop trying. Because it's not, the trying isn't the means by which we grow. The listening, getting interested, that's different. That's fine. That's encouraged. That's wonderful. But trying to change ourselves is like an ocean trying to stop itself from waving by creating more waves to counteract the waves. You're just getting a more turbulent ocean, and the ocean will do that. As far as I'm concerned, human being oceans do that for decades. And they come to us and I'm like, how long have you been trying to fix yourself? And they're like, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, all my life, 50 years. I'd be like, how have you been getting on? Not very well. No, it's because you're not broken. You're trying to fix something that isn't broken. It's something that's not, you don't need to fix it. You need to understand it. Very, very different conversation. We're not talking about fixing anything in this conversation. We're talking about understanding something in this conversation. Poles apart. Jen and I, when we come and work, when people can work with us or we go wherever to work with people, we're not there to fix anyone. We're there to help them understand something. And like Jen says, more often than not, we're there to see your wholeness, to see your perfection, to see your wellness. until you're ready to pick it up yourself, because it exists within the heart of every single person that walks this planet. Even when people are suffering from stress, their wellness hasn't gone anywhere. It's just hidden behind a ball of thoughts, because that's what stress is, a busy mind. People who are stressed go for a walk. Why do they want to go for a walk? Let the mind quieten down. Because they know when the mind gets quieter, the stress goes. I'm not talking circumstance. I'm not saying the circumstance has changed. I'm talking about the internal experience of the circumstance. It changes. They can come back and they can look at the same subject and feel differently about it. It's interesting, that, isn't it? Because if it truly was the subject, they couldn't do that. The moment they look at the subject, they'd have to be hit by it again, because the feeling will be coming from the subject. But if they can go for a walk for 20 minutes, come back and sit down at the computer and look at this circumstance again and go, oh, right, okay, all right. Where am I going to start? I'll start there, blah, 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 whatever. It's not come from the circumstance. This is the most important alignment a human being can make. It's the most important discovery. I'm not saying it's the end point, because it's not. The beginning. It's the beginning of taking back the power that we mistakenly handed out to everything else. People, circumstances, governments, experts. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I like to think I'm a, what's the word? Free thinker. I think for myself. I weigh things up for myself. I don't just take people's word for it. I've taken back my power from all those experts, and I live my own personally. I live my own life from what I think is best for this world and myself. And the conclusion I've come to for that is kindness, love, and patience with people as best I can. Because every single expert is a separate reality. Their reality is no more true or real than yours. We're in a time of massive stress, globally, enormous stress. I don't think mankind has ever faced the level of stress that we currently have on this planet. But it's because mankind has handed out each person has handed out their power. They've handed their power over to objects and people and institutions. They've believed in the external reality has the power to make them feel safe. I think we've had that proven to us time and time again. There's no external reality that's going to keep you safe. You're spiritually safe. You've always been safe. We're eternally safe. You don't get destroyed. You don't die. Physical body dies, but let's not go there, because that just pisses people off. But you don't. But we've seen that, people are looking for security in this, that, and the other. They're looking for feeling secure in, I need to put all my money into this kind of whatever or that kind of whatever. And it's collapsed like that. 2008, I used to work with a fella he was well off. He had his pension and everything, and he lost it all in 2008. Banking crash. And he lived in a shed. He said, I had a perfectly good life till I had it all taken away from me. External security. When you find the security within yourself that you're okay no matter what, because reality is a state of mind, it's a state of thought, so therefore it is technically possible to be okay in any position. And that's what more and more people are waking up and realizing they are. You take your power from the illusion of the external reality. The external reality has no power It is us that holds the power. Us who holds the power. We always have. We create reality. I'm not talking circumstance. I'm not talking outside of ourselves. I'm talking about we create the experience that we call my life. And nothing else has the power to create it other than ourselves. We're the most phenomenal beings. I can't articulate how phenomenal we are. I cannot articulate the magnitude of who and what we actually are. We think we're just fucking normal. We're just a human being. What the fuck are we? Look at us walking around on this planet with this livingness going on and this experience taking place. What are we? We're magnificent. We can't make us. No AI mankind dreams up will be as magnificent as the human being. It may be able to figure out a problem quicker, solve an equation quicker. Fine. Great. That's why we invented it. But I tell you what, I wouldn't swap my life for any AI life because it's magnificent. And so is everybody else's. Life itself is a miracle of whatever lies before nature, whatever creates nature. All right. Should we have a quick brew, then come back? Let's have 5 minutes. Is that all right? Welcome back to those who are watching in the catch-up. That was seamless. Right, does anybody want to say anything on that topic of burnout, stress, or anything like that? Do they want to take it in any other direction? Where are we at?
Me, please.
Lise,
I can't put my hand up, so
right?
I'm going out of the room though. So bear with me because I've got my friend here. Don't know here how. There we go. Shine some light on the subject.
Hello.
So I was away with my mum, and it was lovely, and I was in a really good headspace and stuff. And then I came back. This morning.
And what happened? Sorry, Lise, you paused. You've gone out of range, love.
And
Lise, you've gone out of your Wi-Fi range.
The voices have just said,
Lise,
you're mad, you're mad, you. And the anxiety has just been horrific. Around kind of like in every cell of my body. That's how it felt.
Lise,
creeping.
Lise, can you stop one sec? Lise, stop one sec. Can you go back to where you were, closer to where you were, because your Wi-Fi totally dropped out. We didn't get the last 40 seconds. Now you've muted yourself.
Okay. And the voices
Start again, love.
All right. So I was away with my mum, and it was great, and we had a lovely time, and I was just in a really good space and stuff. Then I came back, and I woke up this morning just terrified, just with really awful, morning anxiety and stuff. And then my friend's here, but the voices all day have just followed me around, and I've known, I'm like, this is just thought. Why are you engaging with it? Why are you in? I just couldn't seem to not. It was just right. So, but I'm going to get to the point. I went and took the dogs out.
Right, you've broken up again. Start again.
How's that?
Yep, go.
And I just thought, you need locking up. You're the one that is never going to get this. And we've been through this before, I know. We come back to this every bleeding time. I know. I'm like a stuck record.
No, you're not.
I know I'm hilarious, aren't I? Because I'm just like that. I just feel pathetic. But right, what I want to get to is that although the weather was awful, the dogs were just playing up. So I went out in the wind and the rain, and I took the dogs for a walk. And it was cold, and it was wet, and it was windy, but it felt good. And the thinking kind of went away in the wind a bit. And then I came back and I thought, because my friend does needlepoint, and she finds it very absorbing and stuff. And I just looked up those online jigsaws, and just putting the pieces together of these beautiful pictures of the jigsaws, just moving the pieces around, kind of unraveled my brain. So just like you were saying, go for a walk, you know. Yeah, do something. And tomorrow, I'm starting with the Blythe House, no, not Blythe House, St. John's Hospice, but helping volunteering in the gardening section.
Oh, that sounds nice.
I know, they have the most beautiful grounds there, and I used to landscape and design and stuff, and I've worked in commercial nurseries, and I just know if I get back amongst plants, being amongst nature, you know, on the days when I'm well and the days when I'm not so well, and also to be around people that are, this sounds really selfish, maybe, that are it'll bring me a better perspective on my health conditions, and just to be able to bring them some sunshine.
Cool.
And just to be amongst the plants, just get back amongst the plants.
Cool.
I know, but yeah, going for a wild and windy walk.
Hey.
And
the reason I laughed, and you see, how do you get through to people who are so adamant, right?
You nearly swore then.
Really did, but Lucia's listening.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently she's in the bath with Jen. How do you get through to people who are so adamant that they have something to do to get this, to get them to understand there's nothing to do? It's such a confrontational thing.
I know.
But the reason I'm saying it is because you're saying, I'm not getting this, right? I'm not getting it. No, break down those words and have a look at what those words actually mean. I'm not getting it. Now, if if I was to give you this pen, you would be getting it by receiving it from me, right? That would be the mechanics by which you would get it. You would be getting it from me, okay? Now, even if you get pedantic and say, oh, no, 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 Dave, no, no, no. Getting it from my own mind, right? You're still almost saying, I haven't got it. But if you were to get pedantic and say, I'm getting it from my own mind, that would suggest you have already got it, right? You see, what I'm really describing isn't something that you're not. The only thing I'm ever describing is who and what, as best I can possibly articulate from the level of which I've seen, who and what we actually are. The problem is we identify with our thoughts.
I know, and I did up all day.
And that's just what people do, right? Get used to it. Get over it, right? Get over it. It's not a thing. We all, everybody on earth identify. I identify with my thoughts. They're really useful. It's really useful to identify with some thoughts. So, for example, I remember I'm called Dave. Sometimes I even remember where I live. I live in that many places. Sometimes I forget. But it's like, they're not an enemy. And it's interesting as you were speaking. So just to clear that last bit up, what we're talking about, you already are. It's nothing to get. As long as you believe you're going to get something, you're going to search. Now, what is your searching mind doing? It's busy. It's a busy mind. Searching mind is a busy mind. It's creating, I haven't got it. Because you are an infinite being of creative potential, you have the capacity within the infinite to create the reality, I haven't got it. But you're creating it from the very point at which I'm trying to point to. Okay, you create the wave of, I still haven't got it. I still haven't got it. What are you talking about, Dave? Talk about the ocean, Lise. Talking about the ocean. Oh, no, but I haven't got it. No, you are it. That's where the wave's coming from. You know that wave you're mesmerized by? Yeah, it's coming from what I'm talking about. You know that wave you keep talking about? Not that it's a problem. You're allowed to talk about it as much as you want. It's your wave. You can solidify the wave. You can make it look more real than any other wave. You're the ocean. You can do what the hell you want.
I've got the picture.
What a gift. You are already what we're talking about. All right, you are already what we're talking about. It's in the letting go of trying to get it that you discover that. And you can't do that with the mind, because the mind then starts going, right, I've got to let go. How do I let go? No, shut up. Shut up. God, I was letting go just then, and you thought again. God, another bloody waves.
That's what it's been like today.
Yeah, it's because it's not there.
And if you saw the sea today here at Morecambe, boy, it was well choppy.
Was it?
Oh man, it was just coming over the, and
The promenade.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. And it's interesting, as you were speaking, Lisa, I heard when you said, I heard the voices.
Yeah, they're very strong.
Yeah, we create a separate identity again, and the moment we split it, it becomes more complicated, because if you've got more pieces, it's more complicated. Let's look at it logically. If you've got an item that's made of one thing, right? Just one thing, it's just one thing, like a coin, right? It's one thing. It's pretty frigging simple. It does exactly what it says in the tin. It's just one thing. The moment you start chucking other things into the mix with it, it becomes more complicated. You add another thing to it, you've got complication, because you've got two things then to take into consideration. So when you speak about voices, they're actually thoughts. Right? Now, somebody who's very close to Jenny and I, she was diagnosed with schizophrenia. She resisted this, she resisted this, she resisted this conversation. She's been around it as long as Jenny, 22 years. Didn't want anything to do with it 22 years ago. In the last 6 or 7 years, she got interested. She went to a conference and she heard something, and she says, I've realized my voices are thoughts. Right. So they've gone from having this identity of being something that was nattering away to her and being something that's separate from her, something that she should be afraid of, because if it's separate from
Yeah.
you, you can create the illusion of fear from that, because fear
Yep.
takes two things. Love takes one. Love just is. Fear requires two things. It requires you and something to be afraid of. It's duality. It's the ultimate duality, is fear. And she realized that her thought, her voices in her head are her thoughts. She realized that, and it changed her. Changed her. You know, I wrote down some bits and pieces that you were talking about as you were, and I wrote little bullet points to try and remind myself. It seems to me like being around plants and nature, you say everything, I feel better.
Okay.
Do you enjoy plants and nature? Yeah. You see, enjoyment is a higher state of consciousness, if you like, than stress and anxiety. It's a higher state of consciousness. And if you are in a higher state of consciousness, stress and anxiety cannot exist at that level.
Yeah, they cannot.
They cannot exist because if everything is frequency, think about this. If everything is frequency, and what does frequency actually mean? It means how often? How often? What's the frequency of that happening? How often does it happen? So if you've got like a long wave radio wave, it travels a very long way. It's a very long frequency, low frequency. It doesn't wave very often, it doesn't reach the crest of the wave very often over a certain period of distance, say a mile. Oh, if you've got FM, it's high frequency. So it's a higher frequency.
Wow, I never knew that.
That's what frequency means.
Well, yeah, I didn't know about long wave and
Yeah.
wow.
And short wave, long wave radio, short wave, just frequencies. It's
that makes so much sense.
So our frequency of being is a vibration. We call it a vibration, but everything in physics is vibratory.
It is.
Everything is vibratory. That's why every single thought feels different, because it comes with a unique vibration. That's all it is. It's a vibration.
Yeah.
So the horrible thought comes with probably a lower vibratory feeling, for want of a better word.
Yeah.
It comes as a low, but that's all it is. It's just a vibration. That's what thoughts are. They are vibrations. And states of consciousness are different vibratory states that exist within our infinite self. We are vibratory infinite states of consciousness. And the thing is, it's not that you ever get rid of the vibratory state of consciousness that is anxiety, that is worry, that is whatever. You don't get rid of them. You elevate yourself out of them, because when your vibration heightens in physics, high vibration cancels out low vibration. Okay? That's in physics, high vibration. Low vibration cannot exist in high vibration. High vibration cancels out low vibration. If you send out low vibratory waves out over water and send from one side and send from the other side high vibratory waves, it cancels out the low vibration. It just becomes high vibration. Okay, that's why when you're in a higher state of being, say with the plants or in nature, it can't exist.
Yeah.
Until you drop your state of being. How do you drop your state of being? With thought.
Yeah.
With thought. It works together. It's all the same thing. But when you start to see that the low vibratory thought and the high vibratory thought, each thought comes with its own unique kind of signature. because it's infinite.
Mm.
How could it possibly feel different if it wasn't like that? How could it possibly? It couldn't possibly. You realize really it's just like different shaped waves on an ocean. It's all the same ocean. It's all the same ocean. It's just a different shaped wave. And then you walk through life feeling all these feelings, but you realize you're not broken. I'm just in the lower state of consciousness right now. And that's temporary. I know it's all temporary. It's like the fear dies when logic comes into life. The fear dies, but logic doesn't come into life through separation. Logic comes into life through making things simple and simplifying things, keeping it simple. This is such a simple conversation. I probably complicate the frigging shit out of it, in all honesty, but it's such a simple conversation because I often say the conversation's simple. The means by which it comes into being is simple, but do I understand it? No, I don't. I know it's all the same thing. It's whatever I am, drawing out of myself. The only thing I ever get to experience is myself, different aspects of myself, because I am an infinite state. And I'm not just some hippie fucking, excuse my language, sorry, Liz. I'm not talking hippie, fluffy, ooh, infinite self. I'm not that kind of bloke.
No.
I'm talking about the fact that we are spiritual beings, whether we like it or not. You don't get a choice over that.
Yeah.
And what is spiritual, in my mind, from my experience, spiritual means the unknowable, infinite, singular love that is at the heart of everything and everyone, that just knows all. That's what we are. Not the ego. The ego is created from that space. The ego is an illusion of that. The ego only exists because of that space, the soul. Okay, I'm not the ego's temporary. The ego changes. The ego's the thing that's desperately clinging on for its own life. It doesn't
Yeah.
really exist. It's a ball of thoughts, but it's the identity. And because that's what's the word, finite, we think we're finite. Why? Because we identify with the ego. That's why people are afraid of dying, because at death the ego dies, but we don't die. But people are so attached to their identity, their thought created identity, that they know is terminal. They're so afraid, the idea of losing it, because they think if they lose this, if this thing here changes, I disappear. I just become nothing. And that's not true. That here is just a ball of thoughts. This is a ball of thoughts. This is memories. This is ideas. This is beliefs. This is what I stand for. This is how I see the world. Right here, right here. Oh no, I'm right. This is me. I'm right. I'm right. This is my I'm right. Yeah, that is gonna die. That's finite. That's an illusion. That's a story. That's not who we are. This only exists because we are.
And they do say around 90% of thoughts that we have are habitual, like a stuck record. And I know that a lot of the things, it's just old shit, old stories.
Yeah.
Old identifications of who I thought I was, or who I believed, or who I
Yeah.
It's just old shit.
You don't have to. That's the thing. When you become aware, you realize actually they don't have any power. They don't have anything over your life. It's you that hands them your power. No thought has any power without the backing of the consciousness of the person
Yeah.
you have to believe into it.
When it comes into form.
And then it comes in, it becomes part of their experience. That's the form, the experience of their reality, the experience of their life. That's the form I'm talking about.
Yeah, I handed my power over today.
And we all do it. Give yourself a break. Give yourself a break.
I'll tell you one thing that I've realised. My hair really needs cutting. Just sat here talking to you, I'm like, well, do a haircut. It's bouffant-ed.
I
To
like
end
it.
to end on a lighter note, yeah.
It's got a louk on.
Is it? Has it got a louk on?
Got a louk on. It's what the farmers say around us. If you notice my grass has got a louk on, don't bother going on metal detecting. All right.
A louk. Well, it's funny that I don't know that word coming from around these parts.
A louk on.
A louk on, right.
Yeah, it's got
Thanks.
louk.
Thanks, Dave, and thanks for everybody listening to my diatribe.
Thanks for bringing that, love. I really, really appreciate it, because it's not just you. This speaks to loads of people, love. It's cool, and I really, really appreciate you bringing these things. Thank you. You're a star.
Okay, love.
Love you, love.
Thanks, love.
Daniel-san. I waited till you just about. I should have given it an extra second.
Yeah, I was. No, it was just something that I don't know where something was said. I'm just trying to, like, because I think I've only got like half of the conversation. But there was a couple of things that like sort of popped up in my mind there, just about like, were we talking about like feelings of like anxiety, or was it like intrusive thoughts, or?
Can do, go for it.
It was all I was just going to say was that I think I don't know if people can remember, but I think when it was a couple of months ago, and Catherine said that she couldn't be bothered to think about something, and I've now designated that to the art of thinking that you can't be bothered, because that's what I do now. So if I ever get like if I ever feel like anxious, or if I ever put myself into a situation where I know I'm going to feel some kind of anxiety at some point, I just think to myself, do you know what, I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered. And it's severely helped me that, like, a lot, because I just think to myself, do you know what, I can't be bothered. So there's worse things in the world that could be happening to me right now. And I know that sometimes when people are in that sort of headspace, that they think that it's the worst feeling in the world. But I said this to my mum yesterday when we were in the car, and I said, I'm okay with it being the worst thing in the world because it never gets worse. Like, any sort of feeling to me now, it's like every time before I used to get anxious, I used to think to myself, like, oh, why? Like, why me? Why is this happening now? But it never gets worse. It's never got worse. It's just always like it's the feelings and the sensations have always been the same. And ever since and now, because I've come like quite into the three principles, it's even more at the forefront of me saying it's okay, like everything's fine, like just don't care. Like it's horrendous when you're in that moment, or if you're in a place that makes you feel uncomfortable, but it doesn't matter, because you don't have to care, because it's never going to get any worse. It's like there's some like places that I go that I know that I'm going to feel comfortable. The fact that I can sit there and say, do you know what, it's going to feel a bit uncomfortable, this, I can't be bothered with it. And it helps. It's something just twigs, and it's like, well, that wave where I thought it was going to be like a tsunami is just a wave, and it just comes and goes. And the longer that I sit with that wave and think, oh, that's going to be awful, that it's not ever as big as what I made it out to be or thought it was to be. And again, funnily, going back to what I'd started with, the wave's always the same size. It's never been any bigger or any smaller. It's never got any worse. Or I think it's the reassurance of knowing that even though it feels uncomfortable, it doesn't get worse. And probably after 5 or 6 times of that wave, someone will get that thought of, oh, do you know what, I can't be bothered. I can't be asked for this. Like, how long is this going to go on for? But the longer that you sort of accept the fact that it's happening, the less that it'll happen, in my opinion.
Acceptance.
Yeah.
It's a big.
That's all I've got. I'm just gonna eat my tea. I'll listen now.
I love what you. Yeah, you can take a mouthful now. Thanks, Dan. Hey up, Alex. You right, Bonnie lad?
Yeah, I'm good. Are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Nice to see you.
He's a copper now, so we have to be
Oh,
careful.
he's a
with
copper.
it.
I'm on P's and Q's.
Yeah.
He's lucky he's one
well,
at Goodens. He's one at Goodens. Oh, I loved it. I love that, Dan. There was some really beautiful takeaways for people in that. You know, you think you're gonna when you reach what was it you said when you becomes the worst thing in the world, it can't get any worse. Oh.
Yeah. It's like you think
Oh,
it's gonna be you think it's gonna be the biggest wave ever.
Yeah.
But if you think about the last time it was a wave, it's just the same. It's like the thought's the same. It's not any worse or anything.
Love it. You know, and in that, what happens? You see, what Dan through listening to Dan just then, and what over the last few months, what I've seen Dan, what has happened to Dan in my experience through observing him is, as I noticed, Dan has become so much less afraid of his experience, his feelings. You know, and if people just realize they don't need to be afraid of how they feel, how much stress is that going to lift off that being? You know, when we're afraid to feel, you run around trying to change the world, trying to prevent. Oh, don't go! I can't go near that person because I'm going to feel terrible. I can't go there. I can't do this. I can't do that. You know, you end up micromanaging your own life. You're not free. You've completely imprisoned yourself with your own mind through misunderstanding. But when you start to realize that, you know, you can feel anything and it's not going to destroy you. Your feelings are not going to destroy you. Have they ever? No. If you're listening to this, they never did. Just notice it. You made it. You've made it in spite of all those hard things that you've come across in your life. As a human being, I know you've come across them because you're a human being. We face challenge in this world. We face challenge in this life. It's life. It's part of life. It's what makes it exciting. It's what makes it fulfilling. It's what opens our hearts. Struggle opens our hearts. I was speaking to a man he'd had an affair and he could never forgive himself. And I said, all right, well, what's the thing what was your silver lining in it? What do you mean? What was my silver lining in it? I said, what was your silver lining in it? I said, what was it? I said, how did it change you for the better? And he said to me, I suppose I became more compassionate to other people who've been through the same. So more compassionate, eh? More love. You grew in love for people. It opened your heart to love, to loving people who you once had judgment about. That's no small thing. That's a beautiful thing. Cheers, Daniel. Really appreciate that. What are you eating? Is it seal?
It's not actually. Because when I heard that, I thought, do you know what, it's going to make mine sound like crap now, but
What is it?
I'll show you, right? It doesn't look that good, but believe you me, this is the best thing that I can make. Right.
What's that?
So it's a cross between my grandma's chili recipe.
Can't laugh now you said your grandma's.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's the one that's died as well, so you can't laugh. So it's a cross between my grandma's chili and my own spaghetti bolognese because so years ago when my grandma used to make chili, she used to put baked beans in it instead of kidney beans because loads of her grandchildren didn't like it, and I kind of cottoned onto that a couple of years ago. So I thought, oh, do you know what? I'm going to put some baked beans in my spaghetti bolognese, and I've never looked back.
Really?
Everyone at work.
I've just looked today at that recipe in my book for grandma's chili. It's
You
not
can make it
strange.
then.
Hey,
You can make it then.
no, you have it. You do it.
Yeah.
For those who, because when we paused, I said to Louise, she lives in Greenland, "What's for tea, Louise?" And obviously she doesn't speak Northern English, so that meant absolutely nothing to her. And she said, "Do you mean what am I eating?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Seal." I was like, wow, that was, I wasn't expecting that. So no. Cool. Well, top tip, Dan. Thanks very much. Freedom thinking. It's where it's at. Culinary tips. Anything like that, you come here and we'll
Put beans in your bolognese.
beans in you, but not kidney. Not kidney. Right. Anybody else? Thanks, Dan's gran.
Hey, hi, Dave.
Dave, go for it, my friend.
Just a very quick note on burnout,
Yeah.
because just from personal experience, I mean, I've had every ounce of that burnout Louise was talking about. And it's only when I came into the principles and little by little, a nudge in the right direction, the word which came just about, I think it's a few months ago, it just popped out while I was talking in another 3P webinar or something, was the level of self absorption this creates, right? And it is a heavy feeling. I didn't realize that I was so used to living in a weighed down, heavy feeling and white knuckling everything and adding thought to thought to thought, tripping on tripping on tripping. And it's one big quagmire, is the right word, I guess, of thought. I didn't realize that I was used to it till somebody's, well, not somebody, but somebody was created a space like you to see, Div, who is doing the thinking? Just an open question, not any put a blame or anything. Who's doing the thinking? And then one day, uh, as usual, when we come to these conversations, a lot of insights, not from someone else, but they just happen to shine a little bulb in my psyche or somewhere. And I was listening to where there's guys from the 3P groups, like there's a guy called Harry Derbitsky, he was with Sydney Banks. And he has this beautiful thing going on in Africa, in Kenya. I was born in Kenya, and Uganda refugee camps and all that. And Aaron Turner, who's in England, he was a guest, and he was trying to explain to all the young little kids there. They were talking about God and a beautiful group, 3P, but in a very, very as relatable as they found it within themselves in a refugee camp in East Africa. And was talking about they were talking about the metaphor bowl of soup, which is a very knowledge, which is something they identify with. And Aaron was talking about consciousness being the bowl itself, and the soup is something wonderful or whatever. And there's yeah, but and there's ingredients already lovely put out and everything. And then I go and add my own ingredients in it, and I create a shit pot or something, something like that. I mean, it struck home for me. Like it was already perfect, and then I create. So what I'm trying to say is, I have a tendency to create this self-absorption, heavy feeling by adding ingredients of my personal thinking on such a regular basis, and I identify so much with Louise. Sorry, the other lady was talking about, I
Lisa.
can't stop thinking about, yeah, Lisa, the same thing again and again, and this and that, and the story. And right now, I've reached the stage, I feel the heaviness of the story, and I am not partial to it. I don't like it. And that's a good thing, because it says you entered a wrong space. And the trust, that's another one, that another higher vibration, as you say, Dave, is there and another one in any direction, but there's an infinite number of vibrations available. So we don't have to, we can go along with this one, but it's okay because it's just not it's just nothing to take seriously because there's another one which will come and another one which will come, and it has the possibility to create that consciousness where the solutions will be the only thing to do, and that's the simplicity. That's where I am with this at the moment.
Well, I think your soup needs baked beans.
Yeah. Okay. I just came from a trip in Italy. I think I did I catch up with you guys when I was in Europe? I did, I think.
Did.
Yeah. So one thing about what's the lovely gentleman's name? I keep on Dan. When Dan said spaghetti
Dan
bolognese.
looked really surprised when you said lovely gentleman just then.
It's usually
All right,
it's
sorry.
usually because my mum and Alex say horrible things about me.
I'm sitting here in the middle of the dark in Sydney at 5:47 a.m. I think everybody on the screen looks like an angel. So let's not. But what I was saying was, so I was in Italy, and the amount of effort everybody, in a lovely way, because like Dave was describing tiling in Morocco or something, right? The amount of effort everybody puts in food. Like you go to one place, they go, yeah, but my pastry with almond stuffing is not like that one 2 blocks down the road because that one puts a little bit more this and the amount of, so if I were to go in Italy and I say spaghetti ball spag ball as they call it in Australia, spag ball is so common. It's like spag ball, spaghetti bolognese, and the amount of discussions it triggers, whose caramelized onion is better than that one and this. But what I love about that, it's not pedantics, it's their presence in their joy of it. And that got me like, oh, these guys really like, we are here talking spag ball and they are putting intricate thought to it, but they're enjoying it. That's the difference. And it's the same thing with having baked beans. If you, hey, I come from Indian background, don't even go to my grandma. She would put turmeric and cumin and God knows what else in there with that. So,
I'll make you
uh,
day.
all right, thanks.
Oh, thanks, Dave. No, it's right, man. It's right. It is. It is like just chucking in all those ingredients, thinking you're going to make it better. Everybody's all right. We're all right. We're all right. We're all in varying stages of realizing our all rightness. But it doesn't change the fact that what we're realizing is the same for everybody. We're all right. Thanks, Dave. Debs, do you want to share anything, love? You don't have to. I've just loved our conversations we've had lately.
Do you say my name?
Yeah, I was saying, Debs, is there anything you want to share, love?
Thanks, Dave. Sorry, Dave. I've been in and out a little bit. Whenever I tuned in, I thought this sounds like a good one, and I'll have to listen to it back. I'm
All right.
so sorry, Dave. I've been
Apologize.
agitated today. Sorry, love.
All right. I've just really enjoyed the conversations that we've had lately. I think you've been talking some beautiful things. So I just wondered if there was anything you wanted to share, but no pressure, no problem, love. Thanks, Debs. We just overcomplicate it all. Just overcomplicate it. It's like Sid said, in the I think it's in the talk, The Grand Illusion on YouTube. You can look at it. Called it The Grand Illusion, Great Illusion, or whatever. He said, you're born into this world, and from the moment your eyes, you see an illusion. You think you see outside. we think we see outside. From the moment we open up our eyes as a child, we think we see outside. We don't realize what we're seeing is our own thought created dream reality. From the moment we think that we are experiencing the external outside of ourself, think about it logically, how could you ever experience anything outside of yourself? How? But we think that there are things that have the power outside of ourselves to create an experience. We get lost, and it becomes a terrifying place to live. But it would do, because we live on a dynamic rock full of dynamic lost people. We're a species that called itself Homo sapien, wise man, and then created a friggin' atom bomb. Genius. We've been a very lost species, and I believe we're starting to come out of that lostness en masse. Because more and more people, they're maybe not turning to religion, although maybe some are. I've got some friends who actually are. But they're definitely turning towards more esoteric conversation, more questioning minds. Like I said this a few weeks ago, and if you're listening to this, you're ready to step up. You're ready to start moving up. You wouldn't be remotely interested in this conversation if you weren't ready to start to live a more beautiful life. You wouldn't. You couldn't. It would drive you mad. You just switch it off and go, fucking conspiracy theories, hippie wanker. Jenny's gone. I can speak now. It's like holding back. It's like holding back the water of the Hoover Dam. Sorry. Maybe you can listen to this and still think that. I don't know. But no, it's changing, and we're changing. We're all changing. And we're making a very simple adjustment, because that's all it is. It's an adjustment, and the adjustment has no movement. It has no movement. The adjustment is a realization, and it's going from outside to inside. That's all it is. It's just going from outside to inside. And realizing the whole thing is an internal thing. It all comes from me. Not me. Don't blame me. Not me. Not my fault. But me. Me. You. Me. I. And everybody is I. The I amness of life. It's all coming from there. Inside. And that beautiful adjustment doesn't mean you won't be mesmerized or caught out by your own thought created dreams. Because you will. I am. I don't know anybody who isn't. I don't know anybody. People, I don't know, I think people look at Jen and I and think we talk about the principles all the time, or, you know, we always know we're in a thought created dream reality. No, certainly not. It's not even an intellectual thing. That's an intellectual idea. But life isn't an intellectual idea. That's why you can never find life through intellectual ideas, because life itself is not an intellectual idea. Life itself is a fundamental living essence. The origin, the alpha and the omega, the beginning and the end, the now. Lise, did you put your hand up? Are you saying bye to your mate?
No, I said, don't worry, I've only got 4 minutes left because she's falling asleep, and then I'm going to slap her around the face and wake her up.
You're such a good such a good host.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm going to throw some coffee at her, you know.
Mate, should be throwing coffee at you for being on this call. Coming round to see you, and you spend your whole time with a bloody call.
I know, I know.
She must love you.
She does, she does love me. Yeah.
Send her our love. Is that what it is? 4 minutes. 3 minutes. Anybody else want to say anything?
This has been priceless, Dave.
Oh, thanks, Lisa. Good.
Yeah.
Right. Quick question. How do you feel right this very, very present moment now? Now, not any other time, just now, right here, right now.
Fucking awesome.
You really?
Yeah.
Honestly?
Yeah.
Really?
At peace.
All right.
At peace. And I've discovered online jigsaws.
Good. Lucky you. And it's interesting because nothing has changed in the world.
No.
Is it? Look, Lisa, nothing's changed in the world.
No.
Your future hasn't changed. Your future doesn't exist. Your past hasn't changed. And the fact that you can experience that feeling that you're looking for, what does that point to?
It also points, hang on, I've just got to put this charger in. It also points to the fact when you said about us being in this conversation and why we're in this conversation, because we're curious, because we want different things for the world and for us and for, yeah. And a lot of people would say, oh, just a load of bollocks and conspiracy theorists, and they're just a cult. And we're not.
We are.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, it just made me really happy to be part of this conversation, and it's not trying to just fix myself. It's because we are curious thinkers.
Correct.
Yeah.
Beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Love.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thanks. Yeah.
Beautiful thing. But right here, right now, you feel all right.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Right. So there it is. What you're looking for, you have it.
Right there. All
Doesn't
the time.
come from outside of you. It comes from inside of you. It's there all along. It's always there. So don't, if you were broken, you couldn't experience that. Be impossible. But the fact you
In
can.
the conversation, Lise.
Hey? Say that again, love.
I said, just stay in the conversation, Lise, and you'll be all right.
You're all right regardless of whether you're in the conversation or not. Your all rightness is not determined by how you feel. Your all rightness is your state of it's your eternal state of being. It doesn't get broken. You don't get broken. You've been through all kinds of things in your life. You never got broken. You might not enjoy your feelings, but it doesn't mean you're broken, because if you were broken, then you couldn't experience what you're experiencing now, which is your peace. And the fact you get to experience that, notice it. Notice it. That's all it is. Just notice. Just notice. I can experience the peace that I'm looking for. And here it is. So right now you have everything you've come searching for. Be grateful.
I am.
And enjoy it. Go see your friend.
Yeah.
All right, I'll call this.
All right. All right, love.
Thank you, everybody. My name's Dave. My guest speaker didn't manage to make it. I'm not surprised, because Lucia fell asleep at about 5:30 this evening. And I knew that that was game over. So Jen was going to be stuck upstairs. She's had a great day though. Oh, you've seen her with the face paints, haven't you? Not the recording. You won't seen that. I don't put loose out on recordings. But yeah, I'm Dave Ellery. If you want to come and work with us, give us a shout. Our email address is in the description below. So is our website. It's a crap website. It needs updating badly. Thanks to the people who made it. Really, really grateful for that. Just needs updating. So please get in touch with us if you want to come and work with Jenny and I. Come and work with us. This has been via donation. If you wish to make a donation, links below. Please like, subscribe, share, follow,
And comment.
and comment, and tell your mates. Tell your mates. Cheers, Carl. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. God bless everybody. Have a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon.
Thanks.
Well
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.